Those are the papers. Simon's here now talking about how many people are paying off their mortgages.
Yeah, they're paying off their mortgages, and this is having a direct effect on the rest of the economy. They're all connected. Interest rates, the housing market, high street sales. We're going to have a quick look at why those things are connected this morning. Yes, interest rates are at just 0.5%. They've been there for 2 years now. It's perhaps not surprising that more of us are paying down our mortgages rather than sticking our cash in a savings account where it may lose value in real terms when you think about inflation. Well, figures from the Bank of England yesterday show that in the last 3 months of 2010, we paid £7 billion off our collective mortgage debt. That's the highest sum since records began in the early 1970s. We've been speaking to one breakfast viewer about why he's doing it.
And the rates for savings are very, very low, and the mortgage rates are slightly higher than the savings rates you can get. So it makes more sense to plough money into the house, grow the equity we have in the property, than it does to save. And pensions are really not performing very well in the market at all either. So it doesn't really make sense to plough money into a pension. The house property prices are likely to stay the same. We live in an island, so long-term rates are likely to be good returns for a house. So pay off the mortgage, it makes more sense.
Well, with me now is independent housing expert Henry Pryor. So it is interesting how all these things are connected. Low interest rates, what's going on in the housing market, and even the high street.
Absolutely, Simon. Well, as Bill and Sean will confirm, if there's one thing that's going to get viewers reaching for their remotes, it's, I'm afraid, the topic of HUE, housing equity withdrawal, which is the Bank of England's numbers that came out yesterday, which is what we're talking about. Historically, in the past, we've seen as much as £16 billion taken out of houses and reinvested in the wider high street economy in particular.
So buying big-ticket items, people taking money out of the equity in their house to finance other things.
White goods, new cars, second holidays, that sort of thing. They've taken that out of their homes and spent it elsewhere. We've seen the last quarter of last year people putting back money in, doing what the government has been urging them to do, which is starting to save, and they put back £7 billion.
OK, and so people are essentially using their house like a piggy bank. The thing is, when you put this money in and pay off bits of your mortgage, can you as easily get it out? That depends on the lenders, presumably.
Well, inevitably, depending on what the lenders are thinking of doing, that is what people have been doing over the last 20 years. We've seen people investing in property, using property and the value that's been increasing in their house to spend elsewhere, to invest in the wider economy. That's what we've seen shrink over the last 12 to 18 months. And these latest figures from the Bank of England do give us some serious cause for concern.
OK, you talk about value of housing. Obviously, clearly, that's one of the biggest things out there. When houses aren't going up, people lose that feel-good factor. And I know in some of your blogs and tweets, you've been talking about a housing market recession, a housing recession. What do you mean by that?
Well, we've seen through many of the indices that come out each month, the Halifax, the Nationwide, and indeed the Land Registry, widely regarded as perhaps one of the most reliable pointers to the health of the housing market. They've just reported their 6th successive month of house price falls. Remember, we're talking about an average house across the whole of the country. Such a thing probably doesn't exist. And in pockets like London, the housing market is still very vibrant. But across the market as a whole, England and Wales, house prices have been falling for 2 successive quarters. In other parts of the economy, that is the definition of a recession.
All right, Henry, thanks very much indeed. I mean, what are you doing? Are you taking money out of your house? I'll be back shortly with details of tax changes that will affect all our spending and saving in the next year. That'll be there at 10 to 8. Back to you.
Thanks.